Your birth chart is not a snapshot. It is a machine, an engine of living gears that has been running since the second you took your first breath. Every planet is a gear. Every angle is a mesh. And every day, the sky above you keeps turning new gears into place. For most of astrology's history, we have read that machine the way you would read a photograph, flat. Fixed. One meaning per planet, one meaning per aspect, one meaning per transit. Tonight, we are going to take the photograph apart, and rebuild it as a cinema. I'm going to give you 4 interpretive technologies that no textbook will teach you. Not tricks. Mechanisms. Ways of reading the sky that treat time, gravity, and narrative as real forces in a chart. By the end of this episode, you will never look at a transit the same way again. Let's begin with the force that holds every chart together, the aspect. Traditional astrology treats an aspect like a switch. Either 2 planets are in exact conjunction, or square, or opposition, and the meaning is simply on or off. But here is the problem. In real physics, there is no such thing as an on or off force. Gravity does not stop at a boundary. It fades. So I want to introduce you to the first new technology, orbit gravity fields. Think of every planet not as a point, but as a sphere of influence, a gravitational field with a measurable radius. The closer another planet drifts into that field, the deeper it falls into that planet's gravity well. The orb, the allowable distance of an aspect, is not a rule. It is the radius of a well. Here is the original mechanism. Orbic weight is not linear. It is inverse cubic. At the exact degree of an aspect, at the bottom of the well, the force is at its maximum. 1 degree away, the force drops to 1/8 of its peak. 2 degrees away, 1/27th. 3 degrees away, 1/64th. In practice, this means, an exact aspect is not merely stronger than a wide one. It is categorically different. A planet at 1 degree of orb is speaking at full volume. A planet at 6 degrees is not whispering. It is murmuring in another room, audible only when the rest of the chart goes quiet. This single shift changes how you read everything. When 2 powerful planets sit at a wide orb, say, Pluto square Mars at 7 degrees, most astrologers will call it a square with some slack. Under orbic gravity, you read it differently. The aspect is dormant fuel. It is not active in the personality. It is stored in the chart like compressed air, waiting for a transit to push the 2 planets closer together. And that is the key insight. Orbs are not static distances. They are tides. When an outer planet transits and drags one of those 2 planets toward exactness, the entire gravity well deepens. A dormant wide square can ignite overnight, not because the transit triggered it, but because the transit changed the geometry of the field itself. So the first law of the oracle machine: never read the orb. Read the gradient. Ask not, are they an aspect? Ask, is the distance between them shrinking, or growing? The direction of the tide tells you more than the aspect itself. Now, let's go deeper into the well. Every astrologer knows that aspects between planets carry meaning. But here is the second original technology: aspect resonance lattices. Here is the premise. A chart is not a collection of isolated pairs. It is a lattice, a web of connected nodes. And in a web, meaning does not travel in straight lines. It resonates. When 2 planets form a perfect trine, they are not just in harmony. They are vibrating on the same frequency, and that frequency passes through the entire lattice, coloring every other aspect they touch. Here is the mechanism. Every planet in your chart has a resonance signature, the complete pattern of every aspect it makes with every other planet, weighted by the orbic gravity fields from part 1. When 2 planets share an exact harmonic, a trine, a sextile, they lock into phase. And here is where it gets strange. A third planet, making no aspect at all to either of them, can still be caught in the resonance, if it sits at the same degree as the harmonic midpoint. This is the lattice anchor effect. Imagine your Sun at 15 degrees of Aries, your Jupiter at 15 degrees of Leo, a perfect trine, locked in phase, a bright harmonic chord running through the chart. Now, your Saturn at 15 degrees of Aquarius. Saturn makes no direct aspect to either one, and yet it sits exactly on the resonant frequency of the Sun-Jupiter trine, completing a grand trine of fire. The chart hums. And here is the original rule. A planet standing on a lattice frequency amplifies every aspect that shares that frequency, and is amplified in return. It does not matter that Saturn's sign is different. What matters is that its degree is harmonically aligned. Now apply this to interpretation. If you have a Moon-Mars square, tense, reactive, quick to anger, and a Venus at the exact midpoint of that square, Venus is not a saving grace. Under the lattice model, Venus is the resonance anchor of the square. She is the node that the entire conflict vibrates through. And that means, every Venus transit, every Venus return, becomes a mute button or a volume knob for the Moon-Mars square itself. This is why two people with nearly identical charts can live radically different lives. It is not the aspects they have. It is the frequencies they stand on, and which planets in the sky, at any given moment, are broadcasting on those frequencies. The second law of the Oracle machine. The chart is not a list of pairs. It is a tuned instrument. Read the chords, not the notes. And now we come to the third technology, the one that changes how you experience time itself. Transit narrative arcs. Most astrologers read a transit like a weather report. Saturn is squaring your sun for the next 3 months. Expect difficulty. One static sentence. No beginning, no middle, no end. But a transit is not weather. It is a story, and every story has 3 acts. Here is the mechanism. Every transit, regardless of the planets involved, moves through 4 narrative phases, and each phase has a different task. Phase 1, the approach. The transiting planet is entering the orb, between 8 and 4 degrees. This is the exposition. You do not feel the event, you feel the anticipation. Dreams change. Conversations circle a subject you cannot name. The approach is when the story's theme first whispers its title. Phase 2, the conjunction of contact. Between 4 degrees and exact. This is the rising action. Events begin. You meet the person. You sign the paper. You receive the diagnosis. The theme becomes a plot. Phase 3, the exactitude. The moment the transit reaches 0. This is the climax, and here is the original law. The climax is never where you think it is. Because the narrative peaks not at the mathematical exactness, but at the first moment the transiting planet reverses direction, its retrograde station, or its exit from the orb. That station is the plot twist. Everything before it was set up. Everything after it is consequence. Phase 4, the departure. The planet leaves the orb, between 4 and 8 degrees on the way out. This is the denouement. The event is over, but the meaning is not. The departure is where integration happens. Where you finally understand what the transit was for. Here is the original interpretive rule. A transit is never read by its peak. It is read by its shape. The same Saturn square can be a demolition or renovation, and the difference is not in the aspect, it is in the arc. If the Saturn square happens while Saturn is moving slowly, stationing, turning retrograde inside your orb, the story is internal. It will be a long, psychological excavation. If Saturn is moving fast, a quick pass, in and out, the story is external. An event will happen, and it will be over. And here is the deepest cut. The narrative arc of a transit is determined by the Ferdaria period you are living inside. Which brings us to our final technology. The Ferdaria is one of astrology's oldest and most neglected treasures. A lifelong sequence of planetary periods, each ruling roughly 7 to 10 years of your life, in an unbroken chain from birth to death. Most astrologers who use it read the Ferdaria like chapters in a book. You are in your Saturn period, so this decade is about structure. You are in your Venus period, so this decade is about love. That is true, and it is also flat. Because here is what the old texts never tell you. Every Ferdaria period is itself composed of sub-phases, ruled by every other planet in sequence. This is the fourth technology, the Ferdaria sub-phase overlay. Here is the mechanism. Your Ferdaria period is a play. The ruling planet of the period is the protagonist, the theme of the entire act. But within that act, the other planets take turns as directors, each ruling a sub-phase of roughly equal length, and each one restyles the protagonist theme in their own image. Take a Venus Ferdaria period. On the surface, a decade of love, beauty, and connection. But watch what the sub-phases do to it. When Mars directs the Venus period, love becomes competition. You will attract passionate, difficult, combative bonds, because Mars is staging the Venus story as a battle. When Saturn directs, love becomes responsibility. The theme is not romance, it is commitment as architecture. You will meet the person you build a life with, and it will feel like work, because Saturn is staging the Venus story as a foundation. When Jupiter directs, love becomes abundance, and also excess. Everything is bigger. More partners, more promises, more heartbreak in a grander key. And here's the original overlay rule. Every transit that occurs during your Ferdaria period is filtered through the sub-phase director. A Neptune transit to your Sun during a Mars-directed sub-phase will not feel like fog, it will feel like fever. Confusion dressed as passion, illusion wearing armor. This is the missing link between the two great systems of predictive astrology, the transits and the Ferdaria. Transits are the weather. The Ferdaria is the climate. And the sub-phase overlay is the season. A transit does not land on bare ground. It lands on a stage that is already being directed. Read the transit, read the climate, read the director, and you will know not only what will happen, but how it will feel. The fourth law of the Oracle machine. Timing is not a date. Timing is a texture. 4 technologies. 1 machine. Orbic gravity fields. Read the gradient, not the orb. Aspect resonance lattices. Read the chords, not the notes. Transit narrative arcs. Read the shape, not the peak. Pradaria sub-phase overlays. Read the director, not just the stage. Your chart is not a photograph. It never was. It is a cinema, a machine of living gears, spinning since your first breath, and it has been telling your story in 4 dimensions all along. The sky is not above you. It is inside you, and now, you know how to read it. If this episode shifted the way you see your own chart, share it with one person who needs to hear it. Subscribe for the next descent, because in the next episode, we will turn this machine toward the most dangerous question of all. What happens when the Oracle looks at itself? Until then, keep watching the gears turn.